Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 50 of Big Brother Season 23's overnight feed recaps. And welcome to Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. All right, I was excited yesterday. I thought there was a small chance that we could see a house flip on the vote, some chaos, a little uncertainty going into the night's vote. Well, I got to say, I kind of think it was a false hope. Yeah, I think things have reverted a little bit. Just as a reminder, we've got Claire and Derek X on the block. The original plan was to backdoor Derek X. There was talk about Tiffany maybe leading a charge to flip it, since Claire out instead. Don't think it's going to happen. I think Derek X is heading home tonight. We'll talk about a little bit of the conversations as well. But yeah, I was hoping for a little more chaos right here at the end. But that doesn't mean that we didn't have some variety and some excitement happen last night inside the house. So we'll talk about that as well. Now, first of all, Xavier. Xavier was on the block. He won veto last Saturday, used the veto to pull himself off the block, but winning that veto came with a price to pay, with some punishments. And one of the punishments was a 24-hour isolation leading right up into the live episode tonight. So last night, Xavier started serving that punishment. He's in the have-not room, which has been converted for 24 hours into an isolation ward. And now, we didn't have an isolation punishment during my season, so I wasn't really sure exactly how this would work in terms of bathrooms and things like that. Well, now we know. Xavier gave us a little bit of a tour of his isolation room last night. Basically, he's been left snacks to eat. He's got a very small tent with a little camp porta potty. I don't know. It looked like more just a bucket to me, but left with a very small tent that he can go in and take care of his private business while he's locked inside this room. He's going to be there for 24 hours, which does not sound like a lot of fun. Now, he does have a couch in there. He's got a bed, so he can hang out. The punishment's much more not being able to interact with everyone for 24 hours than the actual accommodations themselves. Although that porta potty looks pretty bad. Now, here's one little inside thing. I am guessing that while the rest of the house guests are up in the HOH room during lockdowns today, because we have lockdowns on live eviction days where you're locked up there for a few hours while, I don't know, either they get the house ready for a live episode stuff. I have a feeling while the rest of the house guests are locked up in the HOH, Xavier's probably going to get a couple of times where he can maybe go downstairs, shower, start getting ready for the live episode tonight. So he'll be isolated, but I have a feeling he'll get to leave from there every once in a while. But still not a lot of fun. But Xavier has started his punishment, so we do have that. Now, before Xavier started his isolation, we had some other excitement in the house. We had some kind of videos playing, and we didn't get to see what they were, but some kind of videos that all the house guests were watching. Probably has, and everyone's assuming has something to do maybe with the HOH competition tonight, some type of a memory competition of some sort. Not really sure exactly what it was they were watching, but they were trying to memorize everything and saying, like, did he raise his left hand or did he raise his right hand? And so it's one of those types of comps. So everyone has been studying throughout the evening. People studying alone, people studying together, studying not just trying to help each other remember what were on the videos, but also trying to remember their days and colors of what people are wearing on the memory wall. Everything you could possibly imagine, because everyone's assuming that's what's going to take place tonight. And that makes sense. They got the yard. The yard didn't close down until fairly late, which is another indication that whatever HOH comp we've got this evening is not something that has a whole lot of moving pieces and a whole lot of set design and all of that. It's probably going to be something them all standing in a bunch of booths answering questions, something along those lines. So yeah, everyone is studying this evening, which is probably good because there was campaigning going on, but in all honesty, campaigning from Claire and Derek X really not making any difference at this point in time. It's got much more to do with the Cookout Alliance and loyalties and everything else. So they did have that to do instead. Now, they did get alcohol. Yeah, they got a little alcohol to help them with their studying going on this evening. Man, it's just like college. All right, so we got a lot of studying. Now, Big D talking, he's talking to Sarah Beth, and he's telling Sarah Beth that Hannah lied about playing high ruler roulette last week, that she didn't play, that she actually does have more bucks than she's letting on. Now, a couple of things with this. First of all, Big D does not want everyone thinking that he is the only person playing this week in this Coin of Destiny week 3 high roller competition, because then it's supposed to be an anonymous HOH if you win the power. But if he's the only one playing, then there's nothing anonymous. It's just like we saw in the episode last night. It's supposed to be anonymous about who actually won the cash in that veto competition. Well, everyone knows it was Big D. There wasn't even any question about it. Same thing with the Coin of Destiny. Big D does not want everyone to necessarily know that he is the one who may win that power, because then he feels like there'll be blood on his hands if he makes decisions that don't go along with what everyone else wants, etc. So it's certainly in his best interest to try to promote and push that Hannah is also going to play in the competition, so he can try to blame some stuff on her if it comes right down to it. So he does mention that together, or mentions that to her. But here's the other thing from Sarah Beth's side. Sarah Beth doesn't really want Hannah playing Coin of Destiny. She doesn't want Big D playing Coin of Destiny. It's just going to be a tough week for Sarah Beth. No one is going to be playing in that competition that really benefits Sarah Beth. So she's in a precarious position starting tonight, going in to the rest of this week. We've got Big D also pointing out that Tiffany and Hannah and Derek X are studying together, studying these videos. This is probably yet another nail in Derek X's coffin, maybe the final nail. I don't know. I don't think this makes a difference, but this does not help Derek X at all. In order to get Big D's vote, which he probably would need to flip the house, would likely need to flip the house. In order to get that, Derek X really needs to be staying away from Tiffany. We know there's friction between Tiffany and Big D, and when Big D looks up and sees Derek X and Tiffany together, studying for competitions and everything, well, that's just going to push Big D further away from any idea, any thought of possibly trying to save Derek X this week. So probably not a good move on Derek X's part. He really probably needs to distance himself from her this week just for that reason. It's not going to happen. So we've got that. All right. We've got Big D also talking to Tiffany a little bit later. It's always interesting when these two talk. You never know exactly what's going to be said or not. But Big D is telling Tiffany that he does not want to win HOH. He has no desire to win this week. And I don't know if that's just because he's focused instead on winning the Coin of Destiny power afterwards. Wouldn't that be just typical that Big D wins an HOH competition and then it doesn't matter if he wins the anonymous HOH because he's already got control anyway? That'd be about typical. But now he's saying he doesn't want to win HOH. He's going to let someone else take the shot this week, or he'll take it anonymously, right? All right, we've got Azza talking to the cameras. Azza's a little upset. Azza apparently told Derek X that she uses Fruit Loops to study her days and events and everything else. Fruit Loops, get it? Was that a secret? It seems like everyone in this house is using chessboards and M&Ms and Fruit Loops, and I don't know. Everyone's got their own methods of studying. I had mine. Everyone has their own ways, but it seems like food and chessboards is the way it goes this week. But Azza told Derek X how she studies using Fruit Loops. And the next thing you know, apparently everyone's got their chessboards out. Everyone's got Fruit Loops out, and they're all replicating what Azza does. So she is now upset that Derek X apparently told everyone else her secret study method. And so she's not happy with Derek X. Yet another nail in Derek X's coffin. He would absolutely have to have Azza's vote to flip. And she seems a little peeved at him right now. Actually, I didn't know it was a secret, but all right. Derek X is campaigning to Alyssa. The most depressing campaign pitch I've probably ever heard in my years of watching Big Brother. Derek X goes up to Alyssa. I think they're in the HOH room, if I recall. And he basically says, well, I'm here to campaign to you, but in all honesty, I really don't have it. I don't have anything to offer you or any good pitch to be made. He knows that he doesn't have her vote, and she pretty much confirms it. She says, you lied to me during the Christian backdoor and all of that. Yeah, you backdoored him as well. So yeah, I don't think you probably should be counting on my support, Derek X. He knows it. She knows it. So they try to play nice. They talk about how, it's just unfortunate and they're there for each other, even if they can't help each other in terms of gameplay and all that. And she points out, she says, look, even if I saved you, I know there's 3 or 4 other people in this house that you would watch out for and protect before it got down to me. He said, yeah, well, I'm not going to deny it. So I lost cause, but he made the effort. Yeah, you tried just for the sake of trying, but yeah, it did not go well. We've got Derek X and Kylan celebrating. A little bit of excitement or happy times for Derek X, even though he's seeing the writing on the wall. He tells someone, I think it's Alyssa, he said, yeah, I'm pretty sure everything, all the people voting, pretty much they're set in stone what they're doing. But there's a little bit of happy times for Derek X because he and Kylan have finished up their have-nots. And so they fix, they had pizza. I think they fixed some chicken. They had beer from the earlier delivery by Big Brother. So they're at least having some time celebrating their last night or his last night in the house doing that. Now, Tiffany is talking to Hannah, and she's saying, I think it's probably going to be a 5-2 vote tonight to send Derek X home. And she's assuming Hannah's going to give a vote to Derek X to stay. And I expect that to happen. Tiffany's also thinking that Kylan is probably going to throw out a sympathy vote. And Kylan, again, kind of suggested to Derek X that he probably would. He even said something a little cryptic about, well, Sarah Beth said she wouldn't consider a vote for you as a sympathy vote to be not supporting her. In other words, she said she's okay if I do it. You never know for certain when Kylan's making some of these commitments. But sounds like Kylan very well could throw a sympathy vote to Derek X as well to make it 5-2. Now, theoretically, if that was the case, you could then have Hannah Tiffany and Azah both vote to save Derek X, and suddenly it becomes a 4-3 vote to send Claire home and save Derek X, just like Tiffany's talked about wanting to do. Could she get Azah's vote? I don't know. It'd be tough, but it may be a possibility. But the reality is neither one of them are going to stick their necks out. They don't want a 4-3 vote. I really think the only way they were going to flip the house is if they could get it to a point where there were so many that it was kind of one of these house votes that I know everyone hates so much. But yeah, I just don't see it happening. But it was so close. All right, we've got Kylan talking to Azah, and he's saying, look, if I win HOH, I'm putting up Tiffany and Claire. And the idea being, and not sending out Tiffany. The Cookout Alliance working to protect each other. But Kylan wants to put up Tiffany and Claire and send out Claire. And he's saying, then if the veto's used, I'll put up Alyssa as a replacement nomination. I'll send her home instead. You notice Sarah Beth's not being thrown in the mix just yet. But then at that point, Azah says, well, what if Alyssa wins the veto and she pulls Claire up instead? And Kylan says, well, if that's the case, then I'll take off Claire. And they're saying, well, Sarah Beth needs to go up at that point. Well, yeah, of course she does. And she maybe would. But here's the thing. If something like that happens and Kylan puts up Sarah Beth as a pawn, would it be a pawn? It depends on who she's against. I don't know. I guess I'm need to think about some more. But no, I would be worried if I was Kylan having to put Sarah Beth on the block, even if it's as a pawn. Talk about some people maybe wanting to flip the house as soon as that happens. I could easily see that. So Kylan needs to be careful. His worst nightmare is going to be if one of the non-Cookout Alliance people wins the veto and pulls another non-Cookout Alliance person off, because you have very limited targets once you get to that point in time. All right, we've got, in fact, he tells Tiffany at one point, says, if we get to that situation, I'll say whatever you want me to say, Tiffany, whatever. He's not really taking that seriously until we get there, and I get that. All right, we've got Tiffany and Azah talking. Tiffany is saying that if Kylan goes for HOH, not just if he wins, if it looks like he's really fighting to win HOH, that the Cookout Alliance is going to be down to 5 members instead of 6. That's pretty severe. That's pretty intense wording right there from Tiffany's standpoint. She is not happy with Kylan. And the reason she's saying that is because she knows that if Kylan wins HOH, or even if he's trying to win HOH, it's not because he wants to protect himself, because she assumes he feels like he's safe, but instead because at that point she'll know he's doing everything possible to save Sarah Beth. And again, Sarah Beth has been Tiffany's number one target for a while, and certainly Tiffany feels like Kylan is more concerned about Sarah Beth than perhaps the Cookout Alliance. So she's saying, yeah, if he does that, it's just showing that he's worried and he wants to do everything possible to protect Sarah Beth, and he's out of the alliance at that point. Well, I'm not sure she has a say in that matter, but she is going to be very, very peeved. If Kylan wins another HOH, for one thing, I'm not sure I could handle a whole lot more one-on-ones again this week. But It is going to really upset some people, and it could save Sarah Beth for yet another week, but it is going to just further solidify that Kylan and Sarah Beth are the power couple that needs to go quicker than anyone else in the eyes of everyone else in that house. Just my opinion, but that's what I'm thinking. All right, we've got Derek X pitching to Sarah Beth. Goes just about as well as his pitch to Alyssa went. He's pitching to Sarah Beth. She has no vote. She has no say in the matter right now. I'm not really sure why he's spending a whole lot of time talking to her, but he is. And he said, look, a lot of people are going to target you and Kylan next week. You better be aware of that, Sarah Beth. And she doesn't really seem like she's really buying what he's selling with regards to that assumption. But he's saying, look, you're going to be the first to go. As soon as someone tries to take the first shot, you're it, Sarah Beth. Don't think that you're heading out this door right behind me if you're not careful. And he's saying, but on the other hand, as long as I'm in the house, Alyssa and Xavier are going to go after me before they go after you and Kylan. I'm your shield. I'll be your shield as long as I'm in here. And Sarah Beth, she just isn't buying that she's as prime a target as Derek X is suggesting, and is actually the case. And so the pitch doesn't go that well as a result. She's actually countering. She's saying, no, look, I'm actually going to be more of a target if you stay in the house. Because you have more influence over a lot of these people than I do. And I truly think, Derek X, that you want me gone so that you can have Kylan all to yourself. She's not buying it. And she's, again, she doesn't have a vote, but if she did, she's solidly would be voting Derek X out the door this week. Sarah Beth later is talking to Kylan and saying, look, if Tiffany or Claire win HOH night, because she is worried now. This whole idea about people going for her instead. So she's telling Kylan, if Tiffany or Claire win HOH tonight, I'm going to immediately tell them that Alyssa and Xavier are targeting the two of them. And if they know that, then they're not going to go after us. They're going to go after Alyssa and Xavier instead, and we'll be safe. So I'll just tell them that they're targeting the two of y'all, and then we'll be okay. Well, it doesn't work that easy, Sarah Beth. Just because you tell someone something like that doesn't mean that they buy it. And the idea that Tiffany would not have Sarah Beth as their target, would be going after Xavier and Alyssa as her prime targets instead. Nah, it's not going to happen. Sarah Beth will be Tiffany and Claire's primary target, at least Tiffany's. Claire, we'll see where she goes with it. All right, we've got that. Sarah Beth. All right, now this has nothing to do with gameplay. Let's just call this weird conversation of the night. All right. Just something to throw out there. Sarah Beth's talking to Kylan. She's saying that she likes to pierce her own ears, that she's done it multiple times. She numbs it with ice. She uses a sewing needle. That sounds horrific. I'm glad I'm a guy sometimes. Lots of times. But yeah, when it comes, I shouldn't say it. When the guys get their ears pierced as well. I'm going off on a tangent. She says that she pierces her own ears all the time. And yeah, it hurts, but she kind of likes the way it feels. All right. She also says they're talking about. She asked Kylan, "Have you ever been bitten by a snake?" And he says, "No." I think he says, but his sister was, which kind of unusual in itself. But she says, "Well, I haven't either, but I'd like to be bitten by a snake just to see what it feels like." Okay. Yeah, I told you, weird conversation of the night. So she says, "Yeah, I'd love to get bit by a snake just to see what it feels like, but I wouldn't want to get bit by an alligator." Well, I think most of the world agrees with you on that side of it, Sarah Beth. So yeah, again, I just wanted to throw that out. It's kind of one of those late night, middle of the night. It's obviously time for you to go to bed type conversations. And she does go to bed soon after that. All right, Sarah Beth asking if Kylan is hiding anything from her. And he says no, other than the whole Cookout Alliance and his willingness to throw her under the bus as soon as the time is convenient. But other than that, no, nothing at all. I think she's talking about more personal stuff. He mentions at some point that he thinks she could easily be a scientist. So it's amazing what you can pick up when you hang around with people as much as these house guests hang around with each other. But she asks if he's hiding any secrets from her. He says, no, not really. At this point, Sarah Beth is talking about her HOH reign, and she's saying, this HOH really wasn't hard at all. I wish they'd let me play for HOH again this week. This was a piece of cake. Well, HOH isn't hard. You have all the power. You're safe. You're not going home. You get to pick people who are going home. That part's easy, Sarah Beth. The hard part He's dealing with the repercussions that come along from being an HOH the following weeks when you then don't have the power. It's how to balance that power without getting a lot of people upset with you. That's the hard part. And that's a part that I think Sarah Beth's getting ready to experience. So I'm glad she enjoyed her HOH run because she may not get a chance for another one. But again, it all depends on what happens with the HOH competition tonight. All right, with that said, guys, the house guest, I said it forever. I think Kylan then stays up and studies some more. He eventually is the last one in bed, maybe 5 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. So a late night for these house guests. But again, a lot of studying. They'll be studying all day today as well. And then we'll see what the competition is tonight. Probably a memory type comp. And then we'll see who the new HOH is. And we start the process all over again. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that we get a little chaos and disruption going on this week. We'll find out. But you know what? I'll be back tomorrow morning to talk about it. We'll see at that point in time. And we're going to have the final high roller competition as well. So we'll see how that impacts everything. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Thursday. And we're almost to the end of the week. Y'all enjoy your Thursday. Have fun with the live episode tonight. I'll be back in the morning. Cheers, my friends. SKD 143. Bye.